This is video number 1 for sections 3.1 and 3.2, the graphing method. Chapter 3 is all about what we call systems of linear equations. When we say a system, we mean two equations that are linked together in some way. What does it mean to solve a system of equations? It means we need to find an xy pair that satisfies both equations. And here the key word is really both. Now, let's take a look at our first example. There are three different methods that we're going to learn for solving systems of equations. You need to learn all three methods. The first one is known as the graphing method, and that's what this video is all about. So our sample problem will use a simple application. We've got two companies, it says, and the equations that are here below represent the value or the worth of those two companies in millions of dollars at time X years since the year 2000. So you'll notice we're using our function notation. We could, of course, just replace each of those with y. Y in this problem stands for the value of the two companies in millions of dollars. X in this problem stands for years since the year 2000. Letter A says, let's look at our equations and answer a couple of questions. And in particular, it looks like we're trying to figure out how much each company was valued in the year 2000. Well, the year 2000 is essentially our starting year. X stands for the number of years since 2000, which means if we're talking about the year 2000, we're talking about an X value equal to 0. So all I need to do to answer these questions is go back up to the equations, fill in 0 in place of the X, and there will be my answer. That's so easy to do, we can do it in our head. Company A, if you fill in a 0 here for X, the only thing left is going to be the 2. Now that doesn't mean $2. Remember, the value is given in millions of dollars, so that would be $2 million. And then similarly for company B, go up to the equation, fill in X is 0. The only thing that's going to be left is the 7. So company B was valued at $7 million. All right, letter B, we're looking for the words up or down, I think, in these blanks. We're trying to figure out, is company A doing better and better? Is its value going up? Or is it losing money over time? Same issue with company B. Well, this would simply be a slope issue, right? The slope is going to tell us whether these functions are increasing, going up, or decreasing, going down. Company A has a positive slope, and so we know that company A's value is going up. Company B's equation has a negative slope, -1 it looks like, and so therefore we know that company B's value is going down. All right, and then letter C says, based on what we just said, will there for sure be a point at which the two companies have the same value? Well, let's think about that for a minute. Company A started down at 2 million in the year 2000, but it's been growing. Its value has been going up. Company B started higher at 7 million, but its value has been going down ever since. Well, all of that information put together means that yes, we're going to have a spot where the two companies have the same value. And then down to part D. Part D says to find that point, that special point where the values turn out to be the same, that's called solving this system of equations. And as we said, we're going to demonstrate right now the graphing method. To do the graphing method by hand, you would begin by simply drawing an accurate graph of each line. In other words, we're going to have two lines on this one picture. The fastest way to graph the lines would just be to think about the slope and the y-intercept. For example, company A, the y-intercept is 2, and then the slope is 1/4. So I would make a marking at 2 on the y-axis, and then I would just need to count up 1 and over 4 for my next dot, and connect the dots, and I've got myself the line. So that's the A of x line. The B of x line looks like has a y-intercept at 7, and then it has a slope of -1. I should think of that as -1 over 1 so that I can think rise over run. This would mean go down 1 and then right 1. So down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, etc. Connect the dots and we'll have that line. And so there is my B of x graph. Well, letter E says when you solve a system by the graphing method, all you have to do is find the point where the graphs intersect. And obviously you can see where that is right here. That point where the graphs intersect is called the solution to the system. We give it as an ordered pair. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then comma 1, 2, 3. Another way to use the graphing method, as letter F goes on to say, is to use the graphing calculator. And in fact, really you could do this a lot faster right on the TI. Let's go to the calculator and demonstrate these steps. So according to the handout, the first thing we need to do is we need to type each equation into the y equals area. So I'll go to the y equals button. And let's see, I need to make sure that all of my plots are turned off. We're not doing scattergrams right now. I notice this plot is turned on. Let me arrow up to it and hit enter so that it is unhighlighted. They should all be unhighlighted. And then I have some old equation here. Let me go down to that and hit clear to get rid of that. In the y1 line, I will type in the company A equation, which was 1/4 x plus 2. And then I'll arrow down to the y2 line, and that's where I'll put in the company B equation. It was negative. Make sure you're using negative x plus 7. Then I have to decide on a viewing window. Since the numbers look pretty normal, the zoom standard is probably a safe bet. That's the one where we go zoom and then choice 6, Z standard. And I'm expecting to see a picture that's similar to the one that we drew by hand. Well, remember the goal is to find the point of intersection, which is right here. There's a command on the calculator that will find that for you. It is located in the calc area. Now calc is here in blue above trace, so I need to hit the blue button followed by calc. And there are lots of commands in here. The one that we are using is the intersect command. So I choose choice 5 for intersect. And then the calculator is asking me some questions. Do you want to use the first curve, in other words, the y1? I'm going to say yes by hitting enter. Do you want to use the second curve, the y2? I'm going to say yes by hitting enter. Guess means, could you please move the cursor over nearby the intersection point you want to find, just in case there's more than one. Of course, with 2 lines, there's only going to be 1. And hit enter 1 last time. So that was a total of 3 enters. You know that you have it once it says intersection down here at the bottom. And look, it's the same thing we got before, 4, 3. Finally, to finish this problem off, we're simply being asked to interpret our answer. What's the meaning of this 4, 3 in this real-life problem? Well, of course, the key is to remember that the 4 is an x, and the 3 is a y. X stood for the number of years since the year 2000. So 4 means 4 years since 2000. In other words, 2004. We're talking about something that happened in the year 2004. What happened in the year 2004? Well, each of these companies had the same value that year. What was the value? The value comes from the Y, the 3. And we're not going to say $3. Remember, the Y was in millions of dollars. So this 3 means $3 million. We are saying that in the year 2004, each of these companies had a value of $3 million.